he'll be able to. I swear to God, every single year they just move more money off of Mike Evans' contract and Ali Marpet's contract. It's the same way that they do it every year. Anyways, Happy New Year, fellas. It
Happy
is,
New Year.
Saturday. We didn't have a live stream on Thursday because there was no Thursday night football. So we figured we'd do a live stream, midday on Saturday. This is, also nice too, because we have the benefit of knowing, potentially who's going to be out and who's going to be, playing, which we don't know on Thursday when you guys are asking us a whole bunch of questions.
Definitely.
So yeah. Alp was the first one in here. He says non-PPR, Jalen Waddle, Rashad Penny, Amon-Ra St. Brown, or Deontay Johnson at flex.
Deontay.
Yeah, I would go with Deontay as well. Even though it's non-PPR, I still would probably lean with him. He says his wide receivers are Debo and AB, who might not play. So if AB doesn't play, you just throw Deontay into your wide receiver 2 spot, and then I'm probably going with Waddle in my flex.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Waddle if AB doesn't play. Which, I mean, I don't know. You're the Bucs fan here.
Okay, so Antonio Brown didn't practice yesterday or on Thursday with an ankle injury that he retweaked or whatever or something like that. But at the same time, he is a veteran. So if they did kind of want to just rest him a little bit, if he just had a little scare or whatever, then I'm thinking that's probably what happened. I don't know exactly if they're going to start him or not, or if they're going to play him, but I tend to lean that he's probably going to play.
Yeah, that is fair.
I'm still willing to trust him if that's the case too.
Also Kittle or Gronk. I would go with Kittle, but I do like Gronk this week. But
yeah, I like them both. But give me Kittle.
We actually got our first member comment here from Alex. Quick shout out there. He says, "Happy New Year, guys. You guys like Huntley or Lance more? If Lance is deemed the starter in this game, there's no chance I'm not starting Lance over Huntley."
What are your thoughts on this? This could be a galaxy brain play, but if Mike Evans and Antonio Brown are both out, do I start Lance over Brady?
Yeah, I don't mind that.
I don't know if I would do that because honestly, the Jets are so bad that I think Brady could get by with Perriman and Gronkowski and Miller and Grayson and stuff on the outside and still do the Lord's work. We saw Jameis Winston in the fantasy championship 2 years ago was just throwing a Rashad Perriman out there and he put up points against the Texans.
Against the Texans, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I remember he had 1 or 2 pick sixes in that game too.
Yeah, he had a pick six on the first pass of that game.
I was gonna say too, in terms of that range of outcomes, you're talking about Brady, he's basically almost a lock and loaded regardless of whether Brady or Evans or AB plays. I think you could pretty safely put him in that 18 to 26 type range. It's just I am scared of the prospect that Lance could have a fantasy.
Right. I'm also scared of the prospect too. Even if Evans and Brown play, that Rojo and Vaughn or whoever just get all the touchdown production, because that's definitely possible against the Jets defense, who's been so bad against the run. They've been so bad against the pass too, which is why I don't want to fade Brady, because they're going to move the ball at will. They're probably going to score 35 points in this game. Vegas has them implied for 29.25 right now. And I honestly think the line is too low. It's at 14 right now, or 13.5. Yeah. Why are the Patriots favored by 17.5 over the Jags, but the Bucs are only favored by 13.5 over the Jets? I think it's literally the number 1 pass offense DVOA versus the number 32 pass defense DVOA this week.
I will say too, I'm glad Vegas finally gave the Cowboys some respect, because they're -6 versus the Cardinals, which I thought would be about appropriate line. I thought going into the week, I thought it was going to be -5.5 and ended up being that. And with betting trends, it ended up going to -6. So
yeah,
I don't think anything about the Cowboys.
I think that line might even be too low. The Cardinals just look bad.
Yeah,
right now. Benjamin says Amon-Ra St. Brown or DJ Moore full PPR. Amon-Ra clutch last week for me, but with Swift coming back, I'm hesitant. I agree. I think you probably should be a little hesitant. However, DJ Moore is going to get shadow covered by Marshawn Lattimore, and Amon-Ra St. Brown has been good enough to the point that, TJ Hawkinson's still out too. So that Swift isn't going to absorb everything. I don't imagine they're just going to, bring Swift back in. He gets 9 targets. Amon-Ra goes back to his 3 to 4 targets or whatever that he was getting before Swift and Hawkinson went out. I think Amon-Ra's kind of played himself into a bigger role. And his matchup, Ugo Amadi in the slot, has allowed an 86% catch percentage this year. So bad. So Amon-Ra just has a far better matchup than DJ Moore. And surprisingly, I think I might trust Tim Boyle more than I trust Sam Darnold against the Saints defense.
For real though. We got another members comment here from Colin. He says Cowboys or Seahawks defense. I know that the Cardinals are facing better opposition, but
the Cowboys defense is just so much better than the Seahawks defense. It's just way easier to play them.
realistically, this is a defense, which I'm not used to saying, but this is a Cowboys defense that you could pretty much peg for 2+ takeaways a game right now.
Right,
That
and
is
they have
like,
guys that are capable of taking stuff to the house and stuff, right? Which
yeah,
is how you get your ceiling outcome in a defensive matchup. Like the Seahawks defense, like they have Bobby Wagner, like Jamal Adams. I don't even know. Like their defense isn't even good. I think they're like 31st in first downs allowed to opposing offenses right now. So I mean, if Swift is out there, if Amon-Ra's out there, and Tim Boyle's playing like half decent, it wouldn't shock me if the Lions put up a decent score on them.
Also, if I were to tell you going to the year that the Cowboys defense could win leagues, you would probably laugh me off the live stream. But that's
Yeah,
actually
especially
what
with Dan
transpired.
Quinn fucking coaching
Man,
the defense.
it's crazy too. And I mentioned the takeaways, but even if they don't get an abundance of takeaways in this game, like you could pretty much peg them for 4+ sacks. Like they have one of the, if not the best pass rush in the NFL right now with Gregory Lawrence and Parsons coming after him.
The
It's gonna,
Cardinals' interior has been shitty ever since Hudson went down too.
yeah, and I mean the way Gallimore and Osa have been dominating on the inside recently, like I'm excited about this defense heading into the playoffs. I know not fantasy related, but either way, in this question in particular, like the Cowboys defense.
Yeah, I think you just have to play the better defense here. It's pretty
Uh,
simple for me.
happy
Happy New Year's, Joey. Did you have another member comment that you needed to go to, or?
Let me just take a look. There's no other member comments. I got the call in. Perfect.
All right, perfect. Emil says full PPR Pitts versus Moreau, given Pitts matchup versus the Bills. I'm still taking Pitts. I know the Bills matchup, isn't great on paper against tight ends or wide receivers. However way you want to look at Kyle Pitts, it's not a good matchup for him either way. But Arthur Smith has kind of shown an ability to get him advantageous matchups. And without Tre'Davious White for the Bills, I think that advantageous matchup is to play Pitts more on the outside this week. And we've kind of seen him, interchangeably use some really heavy slot usage one week, a little bit more in line the next week, out wide a lot the next week. And this guy's also been winning against corners consistently too. So I'll trust Pitts. And both of those teams, by the way, are sneakily like top 12 in pace of play, the Bills and the Falcons. So even if it is, the Falcons losing and only putting up like 14 points in this game, they'll still probably run up tempo, especially if they're losing against the Bills. So I'm taking Pitts. Just he's just the far better player. The offensive situation too, because the opposite is true for that Raiders and Colts game. Both of those teams run snail pace offenses.
Yep. No, I agree there. And in terms of the second question, with Clyde being ruled out, I think you got to go with Darrell Williams.
Really, I have this exact decision, and I'm going Penny. In my home league, I have both guys, and I'm starting Penny.
With Clyde out, I'm going Darrell.
I knew Clyde was going to be out at the beginning of the week. I'm still going Penny. Because with Darrell Williams, we've seen Derek Gore and these guys like be a real factor. And also the fact that we know that the Chiefs aren't, equipped to use their running backs very, often. They run their game through the wide receivers and the tight ends. But like Rashad Penny's got an easy matchup. Like, it's really hard for me to not play Rashad Penny for a team that is going to want to run the ball. It could be Russell Wilson's last game at CenturyLink Field or whatever the hell it's called now. I could see them putting up points too.
To be fair, you mentioned with the Lions, but oddly enough, I mean, we want to peg them as this like complete run funnel type of defense, but recently they've not been as susceptible on the run.
I tweeted it out. They've stopped a couple guys. They stopped Connor. They stopped CPAT last week, and they stopped Montgomery on Thanksgiving. But they have allowed a good majority of production.
Yeah, I mean,
to Najee Harris, Nick Chubb, a bunch of other guys.
The Denver running backs obviously ran wild on them too. Yeah. I don't know.
I personally am going with Penny. That's where I'm going with. If full PPR does tend to lean towards Darrell Williams a little bit more because Penny isn't heavily involved in the receiving game, but I'm still going to go with Rashad Penny in that question there.
I mean, you're probably talking about like back end.
I literally have them back to back in my rankings.
Yeah. Trey Lance or Kyler, as much
Antonio Gibson officially cleared out.
Where are you leaning?
Not like I needed him.
Hey, where are you leaning here, Bush?
Trey Lance or Kyler?
I think I'm going Trey Lance.
I'm starting Kyler, but oh fuck, man, that's so close. That's so close.
Like, I mean, you got with the way that Kyler's been playing, and you got the tough matchup with the Cowboys versus Trey Lance going up against the Texans. Like,
again, you gotta look at range of outcomes. Trey Lance is a rookie quarterback in his second game.
Oh, definitely.
Kyler Murray is playing a better defense, but the Texans, it's not like they're an easy matchup, man. Like they gave Justin Herbert shit last week. They rank like top 15, top 12 in pass defense DVO. They're pretty good defense. And Kyler Murray is capable of, transcending matchup due to his legs if he's scrambling outside the pocket and rushes for 60 yards or something like that. So I'm taking
Well,
Kyler Murray. I feel like you have to go with Kyler Murray, but there is a world where the Cardinals just get fucked up
the
front. And
one
can't do
the
anything.
the one problem that we've kind of seen, like from Kyler Murray's standpoint, is, man, I haven't been able to say this about the Cowboys, but those dudes fucking run. Like, they got some fucking speed on defense. And if there's
Yeah.
one matchup that can neutralize Kyler's legs, talking about Micah Parsons, Jaron Kearse, obviously those two athletic edge rushers that can keep him in the pocket. Like, I don't know. If I was a betting man, I'd bet
I think
the
there's more risk with Lance than people
but
tend to let on. I think
oh,
people just assume
100%.
he's going to be, 16 carries for 89 yards like he was last game. Again, that could happen, but could he rush, 7 times for 35 yards? Like, yeah, like that wouldn't shock me either. I think people are kind of assuming a ceiling projection as far as a rushing ability out of Trey Lance, because 16 carries for 89 yards out of a quarterback is elite level, like, games. Out of even like Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, if they have games like that, they probably have only had 2 or 3 of them this year.
For sure. And we actually got a member comment and a super chat we'll quickly go to. But yeah, like that is as tough as it could be. I understand from a range of outcomes standpoint. Kyler's probably been a good reason why you've gotten to this point. You want to roll with him. But man, I would not at all be shocked if Trey Lance was by far the better play this week.
Oh, he absolutely could outscore him. It's no question there.
So we got a comment from Alex, and then we also got a comment from Lucius. So we'll get to both of them. Both Evans and AB are out. Do I start Claypool, Ayuk, or pick someone else like Tyler Johnson or Braxton Berrios? Tired of getting burned by Claypool. The dude is a bust with just one touchdown all year. Yeah, like, first of all, like, going into the year, if you were to tell me that Claypool had one touchdown, like, I would not believe you. I'd be like, what?
Yeah, he hasn't been good this year. It's been partially obviously his fault too, but mostly the offensive situation's obviously terrible for him. So
I would go with Ayuk here.
I would go with Ayuk as well. I think with Trey Lance coming in, we heard all summer that Trey Lance and Ayuk kind of like developed like a bit of a connection. And I just think that offense is one that I want to trust, even with a rookie quarterback, over Ben Roethlisberger for Chase Claypool. And Tyler Johnson, like, he hasn't really been commanding targets. He's been out there for routes and stuff, but like Cyril Grayson and Brashad Perriman, I'm willing to bet probably out target him this week if both those guys are out.
The one thing I was going to say that I forgot to earlier. Did you see Cyril Grayson's YouTube? Or,
yeah, no, I saw it.
The chat. That was so cringe.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a comment saying, like, bashing him for dropping a pass. He puts it into a video and then puts it in a highlight tape. Like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, it's so cringe.
But we got another super chat here from Lucius. Appreciate that. $2 super chat. He says, need a tight end, Henry, Moreau, or Freiermuth. Is Freiermuth officially active? Because I know he was dealing with
I actually have to check because I am literally facing Freiermuth if he is playing. Yeah, he's in Arnold's lineup, so he is active. Yeah, I'd probably start him over those guys for sure. Hunter Henry is really, really interesting though, because the Patriots are implied for like 28.5 points according to Vegas, and they're playing the Jags, who are like a big time pass funnel defense. So Hunter Henry could be, in for a 2 touchdown type of Hunter Henry game this week. So I really do like Hunter Henry as well, especially in DFS. He's like one of my favorite plays this week at tight end, but I like Freiermuth also. So I'd probably roll with Patty Fry.
Yep, agree with you there. We got another super chat from Nigel and another one from our grade, who we'll get to both. He says, I'm in such a dilemma for my championship lineup. Need a running back and a flex. Jarrett Patterson, Dario Gumbawale, Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, Justin Jackson, Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne, MVS, and Vaughn. In terms of your running back here, that's
it's between Dare and Patterson for me, probably.
It's between Dare and Jordan Howard for me.
Really? You'd start Jordan Howard over Patterson?
Yeah, I mean, like, Sanders expected out, correct?
Yeah, but I mean, Gibson's already been ruled out. Patterson probably, they liked Patterson, and he's an undrafted free agent. He made the team. I expect Jonathan Williams to probably take away third down work from him, because when I watched Jarrett Patterson in college, I know for a fact he ain't capable on fucking third down. So, but I'm thinking the Patterson gets the Gibson role, and he has an opportunity at a touchdown and a good matchup. So I'll probably take Patterson over the options here.
The problem I have here is, like, would you be at all shocked if just some guy they activate off the practice squad ends up taking the bulk of the carries? Because I
would be. I think if anybody takes it away from Patterson, it'll be Jonathan Williams, but I don't expect that to happen. I think Patterson probably carries the ball 15, 20 times in this game.
It's fair. I mean, I don't know. Between Patterson and Gumbawale, Like, I don't know.
Again, they're both bad offenses that you have to
Yeah.
trust as well. So I'm just going to roll with the better matchup because Agumbawale against the Patriots is not one that I'd want to
Yeah.
try and take advantage of. So I'd go with Patterson for the running back.
I'd
As
go
far as
Michael
your
Gallup.
flex, it's probably Gallup, but I think Osborne is pretty close with him, with
Yeah.
Adam Thielen out. But obviously with the weather and the backup quarterback situation, you definitely have to go with Michael Gallup there. But I don't think Osborne's a horrible play, even despite the quarterback situation.
Agreed. But you know who's also not a bad play, although Twitter would tell you otherwise.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson, you mean?
Did you see what I replied?
Just don't get me started, dude. Don't get me started.
Did you see what I replied on that?
I don't understand why people want to galaxy brain their way out of Justin Jefferson. I don't understand it. Like, yeah, Justin Jefferson could have a bad game, but he could have a bad game any week. Like, every receiver is capable of having a bad game. Are you seriously going to want to lose with Justin Jefferson on your bench? Even if he doesn't go off, even if Justin Jefferson didn't go off. I saw Mikey Lou tweet out, I would rather lose with Justin Jefferson in my lineup than lose because he was on my bench.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it was funny that you mentioned that too, because I replied to that and I'm like, yeah, sit your 22-year-old superstar wide receiver for filet mignon Darius Slayton.
Yeah, I know. I saw that because he wanted to play Gabriel Davis over him. I'm like, Gabriel Davis isn't even like a number 2 receiver or 3 receiver on his team.
He's literally just a better version of Darius Slayton.
Yeah, he is pretty much.
$1.99 from our Gravy, appreciate that. Says all PPR, Devontae or Melvin, Pitts or Schultz. So first part of the question, I would go with Devontae Smith personally.
Yeah, and in full, I'll take Devontae Smith for sure.
Yep. Time for the second question. Like, I'm gonna go with Pitts, but
they're both like fringe top 6 to 8 tight ends this week for me. I think I would go with Pitts as well. Seeing his recent usage and his targets, I'll take Pitts there.
Although I understand in terms of like the potential high scoring nature of the Cowboys Cardinals,
I think that game is doomed to fail from a high scoring perspective. Not because I think the Cowboys offense isn't going to do well. I just think that the Cardinals probably won't be able to keep up. And if we could see like a defensive score or something, like from a DFS perspective, I'm not touching that game.
I don't think the Cardinals hit their implied total, and their implied total right now is about 23.
It's 24 and a half, I think, or 23 or something like that.
23 or 23 and a half, because I think the over-under is 52, and the Cowboys are 6-point favorites. So theoretically, that'd be a 29-23 game. I don't think the Cardinals going to hit 23 points.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think that game is destined to be like 26 to like 9 or something like that. I think that game hits the under. I don't know why.
I would take that outcome.
Yeah, and I think you get like a defensive touchdown or something out of Dallas's defense, and not like I'm playing the defenses in that game, specifically Dallas in DFS, than I am playing a Dak CD stack or whatever.
Yep. We got another member comment from Nigel. He says I'm leading J-Pat and Ogunbowale. I would definitely go with Gallup.
I'd definitely throw a receiver in your flex for sure, and Gallup would be the guy that I would go with.
Yep. And then Patterson. You have where we left off from the normal.
Yeah, I got it. So a bunch of Happy New Year's to all of you guys out there. Donald, Leo. Yeah, exactly. Emil. Brian says Darrell Williams, Kamara, Ronald Jones, Swift, Metcalf, pick 2. Okay.
Swift and Kamara.
Yeah, Swift and Kamara is probably what I'm rolling with as well. I got to actually move Swift up in my rankings because I ranked him like conservatively because I didn't know he was going to play. So I probably need to move him up. But yeah, DeAndre Swift, there's a quote, I wrote it in my DFS article. Deuce Staley came out and said, DeAndre Swift is basically he's 100% healthy. He's ready to go, and we're giving him everything he can handle, which to me means he's going back to his 75% snap share that he was at before he went out. And the guy that was getting, 5 or more targets in like 12 games this year. So this is a dude that's going to get just peppered with targets. Ronald Jones is a great play this week, but I'm probably going to take Kamara over him. I know that's a tough decision. That's a tough decision, man. If you got the balls to start Ronald Jones over Alvin Kamara and it works out, I commend you, but I don't think I got the balls to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. We got a couple super chats and a couple members' comments. You have where we left off in the normals. We got the classic Ladster over here. I know it's Lodestar, but you got to go with Ladster. He says, thanks for help. My question is the feed. I got his question right here. Mahomes, AB if he plays, Waddle, Montgomery, Sony, Kittle, Aaron Jones, sitting OBJ, St. Brown, Rojo. Nervous about trusting either Jones. Thoughts? Thank you. I think I would go with Rojo over Aaron Jones.
I would as well.
Yeah. And then Montgomery versus Aaron Jones is actually really close.
Realistically, the only way that Ronald Jones fails is if he does something stupid and gets benched, like legitimately, because this matchup is just so easy, and the ball, like the Bucs are going to move the ball on offense at will, regardless of who's playing at wide receiver, because if those guys are out, if Evans and Brown are out, which I don't think both of them will be, then Gronkowski's going to get like 14 targets, and Rashad Perriman can still catch a long touchdown. Same with Grayson. So I still think they're going to put up, 25, 30 points, even if both of those guys are out.
Yep. No, I agree with you there. We got another super chat from Nigel. Appreciate that. He says it's a half PPR league. Does that change your answer?
No, that's the Gallup
Yeah.
question. I'd still go with Gallup and Jarrett Patterson in that
Correct.
format.
Yep, I agree. Member comment from Spicy says, Happy New Year's, fellas. Is there still going to be a stream tomorrow? Also, Boyd or Daryl Williams for PPR. First part, Happy New Year. Second part, is there going to be a stream tomorrow? Absolutely. Should start around noon, like always. And in terms of Boyd versus Daryl Williams, with the recent news of Clyde getting ruled out, I would roll with Daryl there.
Yeah, I would as well. Boyd, I mean, he had a good game last week, but he's not getting a whole lot of targets in that offense. And Kansas City's been pretty good against wide receivers. So that's also another game that I'm kind of hesitantly not attacking in DFS lineups because it's going to be very popular. And I'm not sure chasing the Joe Burrow 500-yard passing day is the smartest idea.
Yeah, like honestly, it's funny because, again, the name value of the Chiefs is probably going to push that up. But I agree with you there. I think it's going to be lower scoring than people anticipate.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Bowling, appreciate that. I read out his name. Like, no, Jared from the Discord, Jared from the league. Appreciate that member. Says, Happy New Year, my dudes. My wide receiver in one league are stupid. I have Cup, Debo, Diggs, and AB. Sit one. You'd have
I probably
to
said AB there just because of the limited practice this week.
Yeah, that's a crazy depth. Bush, who are you going to be heavily on stacks in DFS? I'm guessing Stafford and Cup. Lance Debo for the cheap.
I don't think Stafford and Cup is going to get a whole lot of steam. Cup is going to get a lot of steam himself, but I don't think a lot of people are going to play a lot of Stafford. Looking at Fantasy Labs projections right now, I'm thinking Trey Lance is going to be the chalk quarterback for sure. Yeah. And he's, obviously people are going to play one-off like Debo's and Kittles with him. So those guys will probably catch some steam for that reason. I expect Dak Prescott probably to be the second most popular quarterback. And then after him, it's probably a toss-up between like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, guys like that. The two guys I like the most this week because of I like Stafford, who you already mentioned. I think he's a perfect play this week. I really like Brady as well, and I also like Jalen Hurts a lot this week. So those are the guys that I'm personally playing this week. And I also have a Josh Allen stack as well, who's really expensive, but I think he's worth it against Atlanta.
Yep, I like what you did there. I got another super chat from Nigel. Appreciate that. He says Schultz or Everett. I'm leading Everett because of matchup and do not have Gallup and Schultz in my lineup. You got to go with Schultz. I mean, Schultz.
Yeah, I don't care if you got two Cowboys in your lineup. I'm still going with Schultz.
Yep.
Everett's been good in terms of like target share, relative to the tight end position, but I don't really want to trust Russell Wilson if I don't have to.
Agree with that.
Which I never thought I'd say.
Yeah, in that heavy wide receiver league, my name is a tone setter. So I'm fortunate to get them. Yeah, I mean, you're setting the tone on your league. You absolutely love to see it. So keep killing those league mates.
Yeah.
Super chat from Nigel. Appreciate that. He says Boston Scott flex if Jordan Howard doesn't play. What are your thoughts here? I think that's decently interesting, but I do think that Kenneth Gainwell would probably get a good amount of steam if that's the case.
I think Boston Scott's probably the guy that gets the majority of the work if that happens.
Yeah. I think Kenneth Gainwell will get pass catching work in that scenario, obviously.
Yeah, I'm okay going Boston Scott if Jordan Howard doesn't play over Jarrett Patterson as your running back. I would still probably start Gallup over him though.
I agree. I would go Gallup over him, but I would start him over J-Pat. So we're on the same page there. You have where we left off with in terms of normal.
Chan Diddy says, Happy New Year, boys. Van Jefferson, KJ Osborne, and Jacoby Myers. This is very easily Van Jefferson for me. Y'all think St. Brown's targets go down because of Swift? Maybe a little bit. But I think Swift being back helps the offense. So I don't really want to say that's a bad thing. It might lead to more scoring potential for St. Brown. So his targets might go down a little bit, but his scoring potential probably goes up a bit. And this matchup for Swift is so good that they should be able to move the ball on the ground.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Happy New Year's, guys. Which two wide receivers should I start? Cooper, OBJ, Waddle, McLaurin. Which three running back should I start? Jones, Najee, Rojo, and Joe Mixon. So.
I'm going Cooper and Waddle at wide receiver, probably.
Yep.
Yeah. OBJ is pretty interesting too. I think he's like close to Cooper in my rankings right now. The three running backs are
Jones.
You're sitting Aaron Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also sitting Aaron Jones, I think, too. Joe Mixon's the highest ranked of those guys for me. And then I have Rojo and Najee Harris closely behind him. And then I have Aaron Jones, I believe, at like 11 or 12 because of the lack of work that we're seeing. He's splitting stuff with AJ Dillon constantly, which we can't really deny, but at the same time, it is a good matchup for them. They should be dominating time of possession. So I do like Aaron Jones this week. I just like those guys a little bit better. If you're scared Rojo might get benched or something, I don't blame you for playing Aaron Jones over him, but I think Rojo is a far better position right now.
Yep, I agree. We actually have another member comment here. Full PPR, need 2 running backs and a flex. Also playing Dak at quarterback, so not sure how many Cowboys is too many. Zeke, Jones, Javonte, Elijah Mitchell, Amari, Ayuk, and Mooney. So your 2 running backs here. I mean, I think it's got to be
Mitchell and Aaron Jones are the 2 I have the highest.
Really?
Yeah. Like Mitchell's a little sketchy because he's coming off of an injury. We don't 100% know how big his workload's going to be. Kyle Shanahan said something like, we'll give him all he can handle or something was the quote that he talked about on Friday. So I kind of like Mitchell this week as a guy.
I'd go with Zeke over Aaron Jones.
You'd go with Zeke over Aaron Jones? I probably wouldn't. I have both of those guys ranked higher than Zeke. Just because of how inefficient Zeke has been. We saw the ceiling Zeke game last week at this point in the season, and he needed 2 touchdowns to have it, right? So
ceiling though, he played a half.
Huh?
He played a half.
Well, by ceiling, I mean like he was still inefficient. He still wasn't, contributing from a long run standpoint or whatever. All he was getting was the touchdown volume, which could be there again in a game that they're probably going to be leading. So I'm okay going Zeke and Aaron Jones there. But if Elijah Mitchell's not limited in any way, I would rather play Aaron Jones than Elijah Mitchell.
I'll go Zeke over Jones, and I'll make that bet with you.
Well, I mean, we could always play all 3 of these guys because he also needs a flex.
That's fair.
But you have Dak at quarterback. I'd probably rather play Amari Cooper.
Yeah, there's no way I'm not touching.
So you're cool stacking up Dak, Zeke, and Amari then, and then going Aaron Jones? I'm cool with that too. But if Elijah Mitchell's got a full workload again, I will play him over Zeke.
Yeah, and I'm down again. If you want to do Aaron Jones versus Zeke, I'll make that bet.
Aaron Jones versus Zeke isn't really my question. I think Aaron Jones and Zeke are pretty similar, but I have Elijah Mitchell the highest out of all 3 of those guys.
No, I know. I'm saying like in terms of the second option, because you said regardless you would go with Jones and Mitchell. If Mitchell plays, I'll say like we can make a bet. Like
we can do that.
Okay. Yeah, because I do think that this is going to be more.
I'm down for that because I play Aaron Jones, so hopefully he has a bad game.
There you go. And I'm playing Zeke in my championship against Scott and Scott Stotts, so I have. But by the way, you want to mention too many Cowboys in that league? I'm in the championship against Scott. From that game alone, I have Kyler Murray, Zach Ertz, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott, and is there one more or is that 6? I might have counted 6. Either way, I have 6 players from that game.
Yeah, that's wild.
We actually got a couple members' comments in the super chat. We'll try to speed up a little bit because I know we're a little bit behind, but I mean that's going to come with nature, as you guys know. Rojo too chalky at running back. His price is so good for the work he should get.
Running back's tough this week because there's no value. Like last week we had all the value plays like Justin Jackson and stuff. So I think the mid-range of running backs is going to condense big time. So Sony Michel, Ronald Jones, there's a couple other guys in that range that I'm drawing a blank on right now, but all those guys are probably going to catch. David Montgomery is the other one that I was thinking of. They're going to catch the majority of the ownership. I don't think he's too chalky. I think he's good chalk. He's in a good spot this week. So I'm cool going with Ronald Jones as long as you can differentiate in other places. If you're going to play like a, Matthew Stafford stack or like a Jalen Hurts stack and get a little different that way, and you want to play some chalky running back plays, I think the majority of people are going to play the same, 5 to 7 running backs in their lineups.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Who'd you all flex in half PPR? Ayuk, Cordero, Carter, Boston Scott, or Fant? I mean,
I'll take CPAT there.
Yeah, I was gonna say if that's Cordero Patterson, I'll go with that. Got another super chat here from Nigel. Appreciate that. I have Jalen Hurts. If Howard doesn't play and Scott gets the majority, should go with Patterson then, just not to have an Eagles running back with Hurts.
They run the ball so much. I'm okay having 2 like Jalen Hurts and Boston Scott there.
Yep, agree with you there. Got a couple our members comment here from Spicy. Scott told the spam. Yeah, I mean you got to set the tone there. Got our mod in here, so just chill on the spam. We'll get to all the comments in time. Adam, appreciate that $2 super chat. He says pick 2 wide receivers, PPR: Williams, Parker, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Mike Williams for sure is going to be an option.
Yeah, Mike Williams is definitely one of these guys. Tua playing the Titans. I'll take Devontae Parker as the second guy there.
Yep, I agree there. Do you have where we left off from the normal, right? All right, perfect. You can get to that.
So is Jeff not no, Jefferson is still startable. Yeah, still play Justin Jefferson even though Kirk is out. If you want to downgrade Justin Jefferson behind guys, like Deebo Samuel and Antonio Brown and maybe Deontay Johnson, like guys like that are secure. But I'm actually going to rank Justin Jefferson right now. I would still play Justin Jefferson over both Bengals wide receivers. Legitimately.
That's fair.
Maybe you want to err on the side of caution. It's supposed to be, a little bit of weather situation there. We have a bad quarterback. Like Justin Jefferson's going to get 10 plus targets. So I'm going to play.
I'm going to say one thing too. Again, like obviously I think CD's going to do well as well, but man, I have a gut feeling this is an Amari Cooper breakout week.
I actually have that feeling too. I think Cooper could have a big game this week.
You got a home game against another playoff team.
Their starting 3 corners are out too.
Yeah, because Marco Wilson.
Yeah, Marco's out and Alfred's on IR, so it's just Byron Murphy back there, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, like that should go the Cowboys' way pretty significantly. But either way, let's get through some more comments.
Yeah,
PPR, Russell Wilson and Carson Wentz. Yeah, I just have a gut feeling Russell Wilson can catch more passes there.
That's the classic fucking Danny joke. Yeah, give me Russell Wilson though. I like his matchup a lot better, even though he's been a little bit inconsistent this year. Colts defense or 49ers defense. Colts against the Raiders, 49ers against the Texans.
Colts.
Give me the Colts defense. They're the more healthy unit for sure right now. And the Raiders, that game is just going to be super low scoring. So I'll take that thing there. And then Lockett, Renfro, DJ Moore, or Tyler Boyd. I'll take Tyler Lockett there.
Yeah, in full PPR. I mean, it's close.
Especially you're playing Russ too, so I'll take that Tyler Lockett for sure.
It's close between him and Renfro, but yeah, because you have Russ, obviously, go with Lockett there, especially for the ceiling there. We got another super chat here. I'll quickly get to Aaron Cooley, $5. He says standard score: flex Edmonds, Pittman, Patterson, Dillon, or AJ Brown. Happy New Year and thanks for the help season. Anytime, appreciate you for coming back to us. In terms of the question, so obviously again you got Edmonds against the Cowboys. You got Pittman again. You just mentioned against the Raiders.
I'll probably take Pittman there of those options. St. Brown and Pittman's pretty close, but I mean both of them kind of get dinged by the fact that it's non-PPR because both of them are kind of like PPR guys. But I will take Pittman there with James Conner probably back for this game. Now, if James Conner is out, I'll take Chase Edmonds, but that matchup is going to be pretty tough for them. So if they're both active, I don't really want to start Edmonds.
Agree with you there. You have where we left off. Perfect.
Yep. Flex Evans, St. Brown, Devontae Freeman, Gore, Duke Johnson, PPR. If Mike Evans plays, I'm playing Mike Evans. Yeah.
I didn't even see Evans at first. Yeah.
Yeah. If Mike Evans plays, you got to play Mike Evans. If Mike Evans is out, I'm going to go with St. Brown.
I fully agree with you there.
Full PPR, Barkley, Dillon, Hunt, or Terry McLaurin at flex. Jonathan Taylor, Darrell Williams are my RBs 1 and 2.
I'd go Barkley.
I'd go Barkley too, but I don't want to start Saquon. He's just been so bad recently. But Terry McLaurin's got a brutal matchup. In a full PPR league, that's pretty close between the Terry McLaurin, the receiver, and Saquon, obviously the running back. But I'll take Saquon slightly, I guess.
Yep. We actually got 2 members' comments here I'll quickly go to. Pick 2 for PPR, flex Howard, Darrell Williams, Jarrett Patterson, Hunt if he goes, Pollard.
Well, Hunt plays on Monday, so you're not going to know that. I'll take Darrell Williams there.
He's a lock. You have to pick a second one. I don't mind going Pollard.
That's close. If Hunt is going, I'm cool going Hunt as the second guy there, but you're probably not going to know that in time. So if you don't know that by that point in time, then I would go with Pollard as the second guy.
Agree with you there. Lock of the week: Bengals over the Chiefs. The Chiefs have lost the division leaders except the Cowboys. And all those teams lost to a bottom feeder team. Bengals lost to the Jets. Lock it in. I agree with the premise of this, but I just don't see the Chiefs losing this week.
Is this game in Kansas City or is it in Cincinnati? It's in Cincinnati. They played pretty well at home too. They've upset some good teams. I could see this happening.
Yeah, that's fair. Wouldn't it be so Cincinnati though if they lost their next 2 games and then like the Steelers came out of nowhere and won the division?
Oh God, that'd be brutal.
Like, gross, bro. But where we left off, normal comments. I'll let you get to that.
Yeah, I take a drink every time Danny asks if I have where we left off. Should I start CeeDee Lamb or Amon-Ra St. Brown? Go with CeeDee Lamb there pretty easily. Happy New Year, guys. I was advised by other analysts to start Keenan Allen and Adams for my wide receivers. Eckler, Swift, Michelle at flex. On bench, Antonio Brown, Javonte, Penny, Mitchell, Rojo. Thoughts? Okay, so you got obviously a really good team here.
If Brown goes, I'll play him over Allen.
If Brown I'm playing Allen regardless. I'd play him over Michelle instead.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking just straight at the wide receiver.
Yeah, so I'll go if Antonio Brown is on the field, not limited in any way, then I'm going to go with Antonio Brown over Michelle. Otherwise, I think your best lineup set.
I fully agree, but yeah, no, I do think though, if we were comparing your receiver options and we know Antonio Brown's fully healthy, if I had to pick one or the other between him and Allen, I actually would go with Brown. But because you have the luxury of putting the other one in your flex, just play all 3 wide receivers in that scenario if Antonio Brown plays. But otherwise, leave it the way it is. We got a couple members' comments and a couple super chats here I'll quickly get to, or one of each, sorry. I have to throw that dig in there. Yeah, I mean, hey, the AFC West clearly has the Cowboys number this year, but on the bright side, them losing 3 of their 4 games that they've lost so far in the AFC helps them so much in terms of tiebreakers in the NFC, because if any scenario of a 3-way tie were to occur, the Cowboys has the tiebreaker over any other team in the NFC. So if the Packers lose one game, Cowboys are the 1 seed, so we'll take that. Got a super chat here from Will. He says, worried about Kamara with the LTRT and center out versus Carolina. I actually am worried about Kamara. I'm still willing
He's got to be the hardest player for me to rank this week. I'm not even kidding. I have no idea where to put him. I don't know, should you start, Ronald Jones and like some of these guys that are more fringe starters over a superstar running back like Alvin Kamara, but at the same time, it's not a great matchup. His line is banged up, like you said. The one thing that I do cling to with Alvin Kamara is that Taysom Hill should be starting, correct? It's not Ian Book. And also, the Panthers just can't hold on to the ball on offense, whether they're going 3 and out or turning the ball over. So time of possession is going to probably be really big for the New Orleans Saints this week. And if they're holding the ball 35 minutes of the time of the game, they're going to run the ball like crazy, and Kamara is probably going to get fed. So I'm still playing Kamara as a top 10 running back, but he's definitely the hardest player for me to rank this week, especially at that position.
Yep, I agree with you. You have where we left off, correct?
Yeah, we do. Still go with roster start Brady, Adams, AJ Brown, Najee, Eckler, Kittle, Higgins, and Bears defense with Goddard, Sony, Mitchell, Jeff Wilson on the bench, or swap out somebody. No, I think you got the best lineup there. I probably wouldn't change anything. Even if Mitchell was a full go, I don't think I would start him over Higgins. So I think you're good there. Steven, Vaughn or Gore, full PPR? Pretty gross question. I'll take Keyshawn Vaughn just because of the PPR format. He has like a receiving workload. And also he is capable of breaking off some long runs, and Ronald Jones could fumble and fuck up, and Keyshawn Vaughn could be instilled as the primary running back. So yeah, I'll take, and it's an easier matchup too.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say that. I'm like, yeah, you like obviously want to trust like you don't want to trust either of these guys, but hey, I mean Ronald Jones makes a mistake. We've seen this guy get benched before, so I don't mind with going Vaughn over Gore. You have where we left off.
Oh geez. The Cortland Sutton land on the COVID list as well. So the Broncos are just down all their wide receivers. They're gonna have to split Javonte out this week. Which I would not complain about, by the way.
Bears or Niners, please help. So you got the 49ers obviously against the Texans. You got the Bears. Who the Bears play?
The Bears play they're favored against somebody. The Giants. Bears play the Giants. Give me the Bears.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I know you asked that a couple times, so hopefully you're still in the stream to get that answer.
Yeah, for sure. Did you have a question you needed to go to or no?
I just have a Spicy Hot saying y'all can check the description for free rankings if you want a super quick answer. Yeah, I mean.
Correct. Yeah, if you guys want a super quick answer, my rankings are in there. I don't know if Danny's are in there right now, but mine are in there if you guys want to check them out. Danny will upload his after the stream or whatever, and then you guys can check those. But yeah, if you're just coming in, simple start sit question, you can get the answer there. If you want, responses to the comments quicker, then you guys can become a member like Spicy Hot and like some of the other guys that have been able to skip the line. Nigel super chatted a bunch of times, which we definitely appreciate. But Nigel, you could have just became a member if you want to. He actually already is a member. He already is a member, and he's still super chatting anyway. So
appreciate that,
Nigel said. I appreciate the super chats. Non PPR pick 2 flex: Javonte Williams, St. Brown, Carter Stevenson, Mooney. I'll go with the first 2 there. Javonte and St. Brown.
I agree with you there.
Rolando says Barrios or Fant for flex. I mean, with Noah Fant, he's gonna be like alone in the receiving core with no Cortland Sutton and no Jerry Jeudy. I mean, Barrios had 2 special teams touchdowns the last 2 weeks, so I'm not really willing to trust him overall. So I'll take Fant there slightly.
I just wanted to mention that. Did you know the reason why I made it to the finals in Scott's Tots is because of Barrios scoring a fucking punt return touchdown?
Well, do you know if I played Rex Burkhead instead of Marvin Jones in my flex, I would be in the Bitcoin final right now?
Sickening.
And I had him in too. I was like, David Johnson's ruled out. Should I play Rex Burkhead instead of Marvin Jones? And then I was like, oh, it's a full PPR. Like Marvin Jones is probably safer. And fucking galaxy brained my way out of it. Also, what's the best defense out of these? Seattle versus Detroit, Green Bay versus Minnesota, Tennessee against Miami, Indianapolis against Vegas, and then Cleveland against Pittsburgh. I probably think Green Bay is the best defense here against Sean Mannion. That's probably where I'm going with.
I'd go with Green Bay. Sorry, I didn't even notice them for a second. I was just looking at the rest of them. I said Indy, but yeah, no, I would go with Green Bay against Mannion.
Yep. Flex Chase Edmonds, Pittman, St. Brown, or Jarrett Patterson.
St. Brown.
I'll go with Edmonds if Connor is out. If Connor plays, then I'm going to go with probably
I'm
Pittman.
going to say Brown over Pittman.
I think I'm still going Pittman. I think Aaron super chatted this question already.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah. I'm kind of stuck and I'm in need of some help from the GOATs. Appreciate that. Pick one from these three options: Seattle D versus the Lions, Chicago versus the Giants, Colts D versus the Raiders. I'm taking Chicago versus the Giants. Giants are completely an absolute dumpster fire.
Agreed.
Fam first says, who wins? A-Rod, Aaron Jones, Singletary, Cup, Renfro, Andrews, Keenan Allen, Miami D. McPherson versus Dak Cooks. Is that okay? I'm assuming that's Dalvin Cook.
Dak Cook, Rojo, Diggs, AB, Ertz, Mixon, Bears, D, Joseph.
I think the Dak team probably wins that.
I was about to say if AB plays, I'll go Dak team.
Yeah, assuming that's Dalvin Cook as the first running back there, I'm thinking the Dak team probably wins that.
Yep. In the finals, do you play Mitchell, Mooney, or Barkley?
I'm playing Mitchell there.
I agree with you there. You got a quick member comment here from Jared. He says 2 things, 1 question. What's your best favorite helmet logo in the NFL? And did you see the tweet TikTok about the Browns logo looking like a bunny pushing a cart? I'll just quickly answer the second part of the question. Yeah, I saw the bunny part. I was a little drunk on Christmas, and I'm like, wait,
I did see that.
What's going on there? And then in terms of your best favorite helmet logo, like, I haven't really.
I think the Raiders logo is just so classic. I love the Raiders logo.
I mean, clearly, I got to show some support for my Cowboys because they're either hated or loved. It's just so symbolic.
Mostly hated.
But like the thing is like as much as you hate the Cowboys logo, it's so symbolic to the point that you automatically have.
Yeah, it's pretty iconic for sure.
Right?
I think the Raiders helmets are just fucking awesome though.
Oh, I agree. I mean the Bucks obviously have some sick dope helmets.
Yeah, the Raiders have like a more rich history than we do, so I like that too. I like the Bucco Bruce helmets too.
Now, if we're putting uniforms into this, I mean, you can't go wrong with those powder blues from fucking LA.
The creamsicles are like 101 of uniforms.
Yeah, too bad your team was dog shit when you wore them.
I mean, not really, dude. We made it to the NFC Championship in 1979.
Yeah, fair. I mean, they're symbolic, let's be honest, of that 2-year stretch where you won 1 game.
Yeah. Like they looked so bad. No, we won 0 games. Like I guess 1 game over the 2 seasons, but 0 and 26 is how we started the franchise. So yeah.
That's crazy.
Hi guys. What should I do with Jefferson now that Cousins is out? Do I play him or do I start Renfro? I have DK and Evans, but I'm not trusting either. Okay, so
you're playing Jefferson.
You're playing Jefferson, but if you were to pivot, I would pivot to Evans. That's who I would pivot to, assuming he's playing, obviously.
I agree. You have where we left off. Miami Cowboys D. Give me Cowboys D.
Yeah. Miami's facing Tennessee. I'll take for some reason I thought they were playing like Houston or something. Thanks, fellas. No worries. We already got to that. Philly or Rams defense. Philly against Washington. Rams
against the Ravens.
Yeah, I'll probably take Philly's defense there. They kind of suffocated the Washington football team last time they played, and there's no Gibson in this game, obviously. So, I'll take Philly's defense.
Agree with you there. So Lazard, Patterson, or Burkhead. Is David Johnson back?
I don't know. Honestly, I honestly don't know. I haven't been following that backfield very closely.
Let me see. David Johnson.
If Burkhead is alone in that backfield again with no David Johnson, I'll go with Burkhead. But if he is back, then I'd probably do you go Alan Lazard here?
Place him on the reserve list December 27th.
Yeah. I honestly think I would start Alan Lazard here.
I mean, if Burkhead has his own backfield, I'll go with Burkhead.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like if Burkhead is split in time with David Johnson, if he gets activated, I would go with Lazard. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah, there's some moving parts to that question because MVS might be coming back this week too, though. So it's really that question's pretty up in the air as of right now. Is any Elijah Mitchell or James Conner updates? I haven't seen anything more recent than what I saw yesterday about Elijah Mitchell being basically we're going to see what he can handle type of comment from Shanahan.
Last time I checked, Conner was questionable, but he hasn't practiced all week.
Yeah, like Kingsbury said he was a game time decision on like Tuesday, which is not usually a good sign. If I had to guess, I'd say he probably doesn't play.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he plays either.
Did he practice at all? Like not even limited this week?
Apparently, he missed all practices up until Friday, and then Friday he was quote unquote noticeably limited. That's what it said in the report. So, I mean, if they're adding noticeably, like to emphasize it like that, it's probably unlikely he plays. But Cliff Kingsbury said he's questionable, but he literally calls any single player questionable. Like Rondale's questionable this week too. Like everybody's fucking questionable. He doesn't care.
Right.
Waddle Jefferson Cousins out. Thanks in advance.
This is a really tough decision.
This is like the tipping point. Like
the Bengals wideouts, CeeDee Lamb and Keenan Allen and Jalen Waddle is like the range of do you start these guys over Justin Jefferson this week? That's where I'm at. Anybody below that, Metcalf, Pittman, Lockett, Cooper, like all those guys, I'm starting Jefferson over with confidence. But this kind of tier of wide receivers this week is where you really got to make a decision. Again, are you going to be okay if Justin Jefferson drops 6 for 185 and 2 touchdowns on your bench, which could happen even with Sean Mannion because Justin Jefferson is that good. So again, the matchup isn't great. Jair Alexander was activated off IR, but he's not going to play in this game. LaFleur pretty much already said that. And the weather could be a problem. If the weather becomes a huge, huge problem and you have Sean Mannion starting, I'm okay going with Jalen Waddle. I'll adjust my rankings tomorrow once we get some more weather news. But if it's just Sean Mannion is the only concern, I'm still going to play Jefferson.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. And it's funny because I like the tweet or I like the thread yesterday that basically in terms of actual sports betting, if a backup quarterback is replacing a good quarterback, typically Vegas underestimates the line. So in terms of the Vikings-Packers game, the Vikings are currently minus 13. So based on like the research that was done, apparently they really like Vikings plus 13 in that game because they expect it to be closer than the implied total by Vegas because they feel like they're going to overestimate the loss of Kirk Cousins. If that makes any sense. Because I mean,
that makes sense.
Because it's a minus 13 line for the Packers, and with a healthy Kirk Cousins, what are we saying that line is? -7, -8?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, theoretically here, you're giving them 5 or 6 extra points.
I personally think Cousins is worth that much.
Oh, and I agree, but again, like typically speaking, historically,
if the trends say that they're not, maybe it's a little different. Obviously, if they have some data to back it up.
Yeah, and I mean, not to mention 13 points, especially for a division rival that's played Green Bay so close over the years. Like, I think I'm actually really liking the Vikings plus 13, even with Mannion.
Yeah. I'm currently playing Chiefs D because they've been lights out lately, but should I pivot to Giants D or Chargers D or run with the Chiefs? Yeah, the Chiefs D has been really good. I'd probably pivot away to the the Giants play the Bears, the Chargers play the Broncos. The Broncos have no receivers. Give me the Chargers defense.
And Andrew Lock now.
Yeah, and they have Drew Lock, who stinks. So I'd probably go with Drew Lock. Or the Chargers defense. Start 2, Gallup, Terry, or DJ Moore.
I'm saying DJ Moore.
I'm gonna sit Gallup there.
I'll bet you that.
I mean, we definitely again. Do you take the number 1 receivers, Terry McLaurin and DJ Moore, who are in worse offenses with worse matchups, or do you take the number 3 receiver,
Gallup,
with a situation where his defense might take over the game? Like I think that I would go with the number 1 target shares of the other 2 guys, even though their offenses aren't very good and their matchups might not be the greatest either.
But the problem is the floors for all 3 of these guys are probably almost similar because of the matchup discrepancy.
I think if you think that, then the ceiling is higher for the number 1s because they can have 12, 13 target games.
But I think the ceiling is higher for Gallup because it's going to be a higher paced game
on any given play, sure, but not on volume ceiling.
I mean, like basically right now, if we were to say Gallup gets 7 targets and Terry and DJ Moore probably are close to the 9-10 range, are you taking 9-10 from Terry or DJ Moore? Are you taking?
I'll take 9-10 from Terry or DJ Moore over 7 from Gallup.
That's where I differ. I think Gallup's got a better outlook, but
yeah, it's pretty tough. It's really an efficiency versus volume kind of argument, and I'm personally going to go with Terry and DJ Moore there.
Yeah, I'll personally sit DJ Moore there.
Looks like we got a super if you want to go down to that.
Could go to that. A 499 from Will. Appreciate that. He says half PPR, Deontay or Keenan. Flex, Deontay, Keenan, Kamara, Javonte, D-Will. Guy I'm playing has Dak, Rojo, Michelle, Hill, Cup, Kelsey, Waddle. Yeah. In terms of the first question, Deontay or Keenan, give me Deontay Johnson there.
Those guys are super close for me in my rankings.
I will say though, isn't Bryce Callahan expected out in this game?
He might be, yeah.
I think he
I don't.
got. I think he either got ruled out or he's expected out. Oh, that's literally like a back-to-back type of
Yeah,
situation.
no, they're super close in my rankings. They're both the same type of receiver too, so it's pretty hard to differentiate who you're going to go with. I'm cool going with Deontay against the easier defense. I mean, it's Big Ben's last game. He could, bring some heart out there. I'll take Deontay Johnson.
Call me crazy. I'm going both the wide receivers over Kamara.
Oh yeah, I will definitely take both wide receivers over Kamara for sure.
Guy I'm playing. Yeah, okay, perfect. So go with both the receivers for your lineup, and again, appreciate the super chat.
Imagine sitting Alvin Kamara in the championship.
Wow, and then
Yeah.
he blows. Literally, like we're talking
Watch
about,
him
like
drop 6 touchdowns again.
we're like, don't sit Justin Jefferson in your championship. You'd be sick if he pops on your.
Well,
bench.
again, if you have elite options like that, I'm okay
No,
sitting
I know,
Justin Jefferson.
No, I know. I was just messing around because it's like on the
Yeah.
then on the flip side, we're saying sit Alvin Kamara, who literally in this scenario last year did.
Yeah.
But again, like that offense is just completely fucking different, and missing 3 of your all pro caliber type of linemen, obviously with Armstead, Ramchick, and is it Cesar Ruiz or Eric
It's
McCoy?
McCoy.
Missing. It's McCoy. I mean, McCoy's been good this year too. So against a good front like Carolina, I don't trust Kamara out of those options.
Yeah.
But you have where we left off.
Yep. Jay Heeb says Boyd Myers, Gabe Davis, or Robbie Anderson PPR. I'll probably go. That's so close.
I'd go Gabe Davis.
I'd probably go Gabe Davis too. With Emmanuel Sanders didn't practice Thursday or Friday. Again, we don't know if he's going to play or not.
I mean,
Sean McDermott kind of sounded, like he might play, like the way he was talking about it. And it could have been like a veteran situation with him, similar to what I talked about with Antonio Brown. Listed as questionable right now, which, I mean, means something for sure. We had a discussion about what questionable means on the Twitter spaces, but Gabriel Davis is probably who I'd go with, assuming Emmanuel Sanders is out. If Emmanuel Sanders plays, I'll go with Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Jefferson isn't in this question, so we can go Gabe Davis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, I can't believe, like, if you had Justin Jefferson in this question, it's just not even close. Deontay or St. Brown, Deontay Johnson, easily there. Rolando. I'm starting Damian Harris and Javonte as my RBs. Play Penny or Dylan in my second flex spot. I'll take Penny there against the Lions. I think that's a great matchup for him.
Yep, I agree with you.
Chad said, oh, yeah, we already got to that. Mitchell or Penny this week, PPR. I'm going to take Mitchell if he plays there, yeah. If Brady ends up without any of his main receivers, should I still play him or tilt to Huntley or Lance? Okay, so I have this exact decision to make because I have Lance on my bench and I have Tom Brady. I am going to go with Tom Brady no matter what, I think. I'm not going to play Trey Lance over Tom Brady, even if the worst happens and both Antonio Brown and Mike Evans are out.
Vontae Mack no matter what?
Yeah, Vontae Mack no matter what. I'm still going to play with Tom Brady instead of, Trey Lance because so much can go wrong with Trey Lance. Trey Lance could not rush the ball for nearly 100 yards like he did in his first game. If he rushes 16 times again for 35 yards instead of 89 yards like he did last time, is he going to throw 2 or 3 touchdowns, rush a touchdown in? I tend to think that he's probably going to have a bit more of like a low-key game in this one. The Texans defense is not a pushover.
Yep, I agree with you. Osborne, Ayuk, or Devontae Smith. I'd go with Devontae Smith here with the way the Eagles offense has been performing.
Yeah, I'll take Smith there as well.
Smith or Andrews? I mean, you got to go with Mark.
Yeah, you got to go Andrews there. Come on now, Kevin.
Come on, Kevin. You know that. Dr. Paul, pick 2, DJ Moore, Patterson, MVS, Lazard, Cooks, also Pitts or Schultz, Lance or Burrow. So in terms of the question, I'd actually go with Cordell Patterson, DJ Moore. I'm a little bit nervous of Brandon Cooks coming off the COVID list because, I mean, we have seen recently, like the first
anybody who's come off the COVID list hasn't been good. And I'm a little worried for Mike Evans because of it. So,
yep. Also, Pitts or Schultz. I would slightly lean Pitts there, but that is like,
yeah, it's so close. And give me Burrow in the other part of that question.
Yeah, give me Burrow. We got NBA star Alexei Pokusevsky in the chat. You love to see it. I should still rock with Kyler quarterback, right? My other options are Lance and Huntley. I don't know.
I would still play Kyler.
Yeah, I think
I wouldn't blame you for going to the Lance route, but I think a lot of people are projecting the ceiling as far as his rushing is concerned, and he could definitely hit it because, he's a good rushing quarterback, but Kyler Murray has the same rushing upside, who's been, a much more proven option, even though he has, a bit worse of a a worse matchup, I'm still going to go with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely fair though. I do think like again they could finish very close by the end of the week, but I think Kyler got you here. You kind of gotta go with him no matter what.
Yeah.
Mahomes, AB if he plays. Waddle, nervous about trusting either. Jones thoughts. Thank you.
I think we already talked about this, but yeah, I'm not. We said we'd play Rojo over Aaron Jones when we talked about this the first time.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
I have Jefferson, Waddle, Tyreek, and AB in a 4-man family league. Don't want to lose. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty elite wide receiver core for sure.
Yep.
Jacobs, Mixon, or Zeke start
Jacobs.
2, I'm guessing.
Jacobs.
Yeah, I'm going to sit Jacobs for sure out of those options. I think the ceiling's just way higher for the other two guys from a touchdown perspective and like a game flow, game pace perspective. Need 3 PPR, Kamara, Michelle, Darrell Williams, Damian Harris, Melvin Gordon. I have Mitchell, but I'm not sold on him getting the touches after the injury and with Lance playing. That's a fair concern. I actually haven't brought that up yet, that Trey Lance did limit Elijah Mitchell's workload, but I think I would go with Kamara, Michelle, and Darrell Williams regardless of Elijah Mitchell playing or not.
Yep, I agree with you there.
Which has changed. Earlier in the week, I had Elijah Mitchell a little bit higher, but he hasn't, logged a full practice or anything this week. So I have to, knock him down a little bit.
Yep, I agree with you there.
Okay, so we got Happy New. Oh yeah, this is
there. Pick 2, Montgomery, Michelle, Carter, Penny. I'll go with the first 2.
Yeah, I'll take the first 2 as well.
Yeah.
Also pick 2, Cooks, St. Brown, Cooper. Yeah, give me St. Brown and Cooper there. A little nervous for Cooks, like Danny said. Brady over Mahomes. Where did I just okay, there we go. Brady over Mahomes. No, I'm going to start Mahomes. With Brady potentially being down some receivers, I'll take Mahomes.
Yeah.
Play Titans QB. So Tannehill or Trey Lance.
Lance.
Yeah, I'll take Trey Lance there for sure. Zach says, got to decide between Boston Scott, Jeff Wilson, Pittman, Devontae Smith for my second flex spot, and Everett or Freiermuth at tight end. So I'm personally going to go with Pittman.
I would go with Smith over Pittman.
Really?
Yeah. I'll make that bet.
I'll take that bet. Sure. I think with Pittman, the target share has been a lot more secure. Devontae Smith has like maybe 2-3 games this year with more than like 6-7 targets. Like he's not a highly targeted guy. Pittman is much more capable of putting up a 10+ target game.
And I mean, on the flip side too, though, however, we are talking about the fact that Carson Wentz is just coming off the COVID list.
Right.
And he is
the matchup is easier for Devontae.
He is facing an objectively harder matchup. Yeah. So all that aside, I would go with Smith. Talking about a former Eagle and Wentz and a current Eagle and Smith, oddly enough. And in terms of the second part of this question, you got to go with Patty Fry.
Yep.
So you got where we left off. Actually, we got to quickly a couple super chats here. I'll quickly get to. Pick 2: Patterson, Hunt, Wilson, Keyshawn Vaughn. I would go with Jarrett Patterson, and like this is the scenario where I'd swing and hope Hunt plays. To be honest, and again, don't have a better option than.
Yeah, I'd probably just wait on Hunt if you can. Yeah. And if Hunt is out, maybe you pick up Dearness Johnson. Like, I don't know.
And Benny Snell, baby.
Yeah, not Benny Snell.
I'm joking. But yeah, that's a rough situation. But I would go with Patterson, Hunt. Hopefully, Hunt plays. Jared says Hurts, Mahomes, Brady, Kyler. What's your order? I mean, I'm personally going with Mahomes, Brady. Hurts versus Kyler's close.
I would play Hurts over Kyler.
I would too, actually. But yeah, I think it goes Mahomes, Brady, Hurts, Kyler. You have where we left off.
I do. Cooks or Jacobs full PPR. Give me Jacobs.
Jacobs, yep.
Javonte Williams, or I'm assuming that's Cordero Patterson, but it could be Jarrett Patterson as well. Okay. Either way, I'm going with Javonte Williams.
Yep.
Hi guys, half PPR. Sit 1: Pittman, Mooney, Boyd. I'm gonna sit Tyler Boyd of those options there.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Tight end and defense, Kyle Pitts, Pat Freiermuth, or Foster Moreau. Give me Kyle Pitts of the tight end options. And then at defense, I will take the Chicago defense against the Giants over Philadelphia against Washington.
Yep, I agree with you.
Grunting Grant says, pick 3, Rojo, Kamara, CD, or AJ Brown. Jesus. You sit Kamara here?
Yeah, I am.
Man,
I'm sitting Kamara here.
That's fucking tough, man. That is tough. If you got the balls to do it, I'm okay sitting Kamara. But if you're, going to play a little conservative, same goes, the rule that I kind of talked about with Jefferson already, and you want to sit Rojo instead of Kamara, I'm okay doing that as well. But that's the two receivers are locked in for me.
I agree with that. We actually got another super chat here from Cody. Appreciate that. He says Monty or Rojo at the flex, Hollywood or Gabe Davis. So I would go with Rojo over Monty straight up.
That bet I will make you, because guess what? It's another week of me having David Montgomery in my top 5. I always have him way too high. Like I always have him really high because
we'll make that
gets the
better
workload. So,
I'm going Rojo over Monty.
Yeah, give me Montgomery over Rojo.
Interesting. Deal.
Montgomery's my RB3 this week, dude. It's a really good matchup.
The Chicago offense to have him as RB3, bro.
Yeah, I am. He has like a 20% target share or more in each of the last 4 games.
Yeah, I mean,
last time Andy Dalton started a game, he had 9 targets.
Yeah, I mean, like, cool. We also got Ronald Jones going up against the Jets.
Yes, but Ronald Jones is Ronald Jones.
That's the only concern here, though. If Ronald
exactly.
Jones,
but he doesn't get any pass catching work either.
If Ronald Jones was Leonard Fournette, we'd have him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Leonard Fournette would be probably my RB2 on the week behind Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. Hollywood.
But he doesn't have the receiving workload that Leonard Fournette had.
That's fair. Hollywood or Gabe Davis. I mean, we basically saw Hollywood turn into like a gadget running back last week.
That was super weird. He had 14 targets with Huntley last time Huntley started. So I'll take Hollywood Brown there for sure.
I would think it was just funny because this guy legitimately had what, like 10 catches for 41 yards or something like that.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, so you got where we left off, right?
Yep. Armin says, just assume that I have where we left off from now on. Yeah. Arvid says, I have Swift, Gibson, and Pollard as my backs. Gibson is officially ruled out, obviously. I also have Saquon along with a top 3 pick this year in Dynasty. What do I do with Saquon? Do I keep him at this point and hope for the best or trade him? He's got to be a hold at this point. I don't think you can sell low on Saquon Barkley at this point. I personally have Saquon in our listener Dynasty League. I'm not going to be trying to sell him unless maybe there's like a selling window. Maybe Russell Wilson gets traded to the Giants and people are super, super in on Saquon, and you're still worried about the injuries or whatever the case is, and you want to sell him at that point, I'm okay with it, but I'm not selling Saquon as it currently stands right now with no quarterback coaching staff to speak of.
Yeah, I'm also not looking to buy him either.
No, I'm definitely not buying low on him. I'm not, like, just because I don't want to sell Saquon doesn't mean I want to buy him.
Yeah, it's a weird situation.
It's a hold situation. Same goes for McCaffrey too. I don't necessarily want to buy Christian McCaffrey, but I'm not selling him.
Dude, I almost I was on the clock like last year. I had to start up with my friends, and I was on the clock. I ended up taking Jonathan Taylor over Saquon, but like I was actually like contemplating it. It's just hilarious looking back on it because like now Jonathan Taylor, like you would probably have to make a trade to get Saquon Barkley and 2 first-round picks just to move up to Jonathan Taylor. And I'm not even sure if the Jonathan Taylor owner would actually take that at this point.
Well, this is a separate discussion probably, but I think with running backs, the people say like, oh, you overvalue age all the time because, I had Cam Akers RB4 before he tore his Achilles, and people thought that was insane. But realistically, if Cam Akers tears his Achilles, he hasn't let's say it's not an Achilles tear. Let's say it's just an ACL tear. His value doesn't fall as far as Saquon Barkley tearing his ACL again, or Dalvin Cook experiencing a bunch of hamstring injuries or something like that, because they're older running backs. People get concerned with injuries more, and it makes it harder to trade those guys. So like J.K. Dobbins, if he was, in his 4th season and tore his ACL, he would have fallen a lot further than he's fallen right now. Same goes for Travis Etienne with his foot injury.
And that's a big thing. Again, we'll probably talk about it a lot more in the offseason, but that's a big thing as to why when I'm entering new dynasty leagues, like I'm not typically drafting a lot of running backs.
I just don't like draft. Like it's hard for me to pull the trigger on a Dalvin Cook or an Alvin Kamara in a draft right now because I know all it takes. Alvin Kamara's dealt with some injuries. Yeah, he's like a pass catching running back, and he should hold his value a little bit longer. But if Alvin Kamara next year in week 3 or whatever, tears his like MCL or something, or has like a bad hamstring pull for like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, his value is going to tank.
Well, we think of it, right? If you're drafting running backs and like any type of running back, realistically,
it's almost just safer to go with a quarterback and a wide receiver if you don't get a young running back.
If you're drafting running backs in the first 3 rounds of your dynasty draft, you are fully committing yourself to a win now. That's my viewpoint. Because if you try to rebuild and you're taking running backs high, there's not really much you can do there because for the most part, apart from like JT, Swift,
Javonte,
realistically, all those running backs are going to be worth far less post-draft than they are pre-draft. That's the way I view it. So a lot of times now, if I'm entering a new Dynasty league, that's why I've preferred to kind of go with the rebuild route, acquire picks, settle for the next year, because realistically here, I want my whole core to kind of be built. And then when I'm ready to compete, I can just take those cheap rookie contract type of running backs.
Well,
Or
you can even just draft
gold.
later in your draft if you do still want to, like, let's say you build out a receiving
Yeah,
core that's just
and that's
elite and
another
like a
thing.
great quarterback core and stuff, and you want to just draft Melvin Gordons and stuff like that to fill out your running back core the first
And
year. You can always do that too.
And that's what I was about to say too, because realistically, you take a few like RB2, like win now type of window players. Like you can build a win now team based off your wide receivers, your quarterback, your tight end, and then take those guys again, like Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette this year. I mean, he was like screaming value. Fuck, like James Robinson was like a 12th round pick after they took like Travis Etienne. There were so many like, RB2, RB3 archetypes that you could have taken so late in your drafts. And realistically, from a depreciation standpoint, everybody's already undervaluing them anyway, so they can't really depreciate much further. Again, we mentioned Derrick Henry gets hurt, his value goes down. Christian McCaffrey gets hurt. Christian McCaffrey in some circles was viewed as like a second round dynasty pick when he was a clear 102 going into the year. So it's crazy when you think about it, but it makes a ton of sense because people are
Right. And how
scared
much
what
does
they're
Christian
about to do.
McCaffrey's value fall again if he gets hurt again next year? Like, how much does it fall then? Right.
Is
Like,
it,
it's if you draft Christian McCaffrey at the back of the first round or the early second round this year, he pulls his hamstring in week 3 next year, or, or worse, like a bigger injury, then his value falls even more. But
well,
if
the big
Javonte Williams tears his ACL in week 2 next year, his value isn't going to fall that much.
big hypothetical here. If Christian McCaffrey suffers a season-ending injury next year, knock on wood, suffers a season-ending injury next year, what's going to be worth more? A late or mid to late for 2023 first-round pick or Christian McCaffrey?
Probably the pick. Yeah, which is wild. That's such is life as a running back, which is why, you don't want to reach on running backs early in dynasty drafts. So we got at a huge separate tangent right now, but
Yeah,
like that's why it's hard for me to take a guy, like Alvin Kamara over, an AJ
Justin
Brown or a
Jefferson,
Justin Jefferson.
AJ
Yeah, like
Brown, CeeDee
it's
Lamb.
just way too hard to do that because I know like it's a wide receiver, he's going to hold his value, and it's a lot easier for them to do things independent of their coaching staff along with other factors as well.
And it's so funny because I quickly want to mention this, how much recency bias takes into effect into your dynasty draft. And I kind of talked about it going into redraft. We talked about our lessons learned video last year. And I basically said, like, going into last year redraft, people were pounding running backs because the wide receiver like class overall in 2020 was weaker. Like it was genuinely weaker. Apart from Devontae Adams, everybody wasn't really as good as they've been in years past. I expected it to be adjusted. Now you look at this year, like we should expect 4 or 5 receivers picked in the top 15 picks of our draft, which we couldn't really say going into last year. A couple years ago, I remember like out of your top 24 picks, like you would commonly see 17, 18 running backs go off the board in the first 24 picks of your drafts going into 2020. It's kind of funny how you can apply that to Dynasty too, because 2 years ago, if you were starting a Dynasty startup, all of your top 20 running backs are going within the first 3 rounds. Now, like, are we surprised at all if we see like 12?
Yeah, no, that wouldn't shock me at all because like you can take the risk on a guy like Travis Etienne, for example, or even an older running back like Ezekiel Elliott or something like that, or you can just take T. Higgins. Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
And you know you're going to get like really, really quality production at a young age at the receiver position at a less depreciating asset because we know what T. Higgins is. We know that T. Higgins, if he has another top 15 season, is going to keep increasing in that value. And if he has a down season, people are still going to look at it like he's got the situation, he's got the talent. It was just a down year. Whereas if Zeke has a down season, if Travis Etienne has another down season coming off his injury, if Joe Mixon has a down season, they are just so volatile in terms of their range of outcomes, in terms of their value.
yeah, and even the win now receivers too. Like Chris Godwin tore his ACL. If he was a running back and was 25 or 26 years old right now, like he is, like he'd be screwed. Like he'd be in Todd Gurley territory of value. So anyway, we'll get off the dynasty talk.
I'll get a couple
Finish
questions.
out some of these questions here. I'll let you go ahead to those.
CHG says, if Evans plays, would you risk him above Barrios? I lost Theon Woods and don't trust Reynolds with the golf. I'm in the finals, but bottom barrel on wide receiver. Yeah, you got to play Evans.
You have to play Evans. It's not a risk over Barrios because Barrios is inherently himself a risk. So it's not like you're saying, oh, like is Elijah Moore playing and you're going to play him over Elijah Moore. Like, no. Evans, even coming off of like a winded whatever situation that they talked about already, I'm still trusting Mike Evans.
Yep, for sure. Brendan, appreciate that super chat. He says MVS, Sony. Don't really have to see the other options. I'm going to take Sony Michelle here.
Yeah, I will take Sony Michelle pretty
Yep,
easily there as well.
the super chat. THC does agree with that. So we'll get through a couple more. Probably go to the 150.
I mean, THC, he could have looked at yours and been like, how are you not taking Evans in that?
Yeah.
On your Barrios question.
That's fair. You have we'll make it about the 115 mark. You have where we left off. So we'll
Yeah, I think we should be able to speed through the majority of these here. Okay, so Kirk or St. Brown. I will take Amon-Ra St. Brown there, Arya. Michelle, Amon-Ra, Elijah Mitchell, pick 2 PPR. I will take the first 2 just because Mitchell's coming off of the injury. Should I put in? No, yeah, you definitely shouldn't. We already talked about that. 2 wide receivers, flex, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, Sony Michelle, T. Higgins, half PPR. Oof. I'm gonna go with Deontay and Higgins.
I'm going with the 3 receivers.
Oh, sorry. Is it 2? Yeah, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Yeah, give me the 3 receivers. So I thought I had to choose between 2 of those 3 receivers, and I didn't want to. Who should I start as my flex? Van Jefferson, Jordan Howard, Jared Patterson, Rashad Penny. And should I start Amari Cooper? If you can start Amari Cooper, he would be who I would go with.
Yep.
If he's already in your lineup and you need another person, I would go with Van Jefferson over Rashad Penny slightly.
Yep, that's fair.
Boston Scott or Cordero Patterson. Give me Cordero Patterson there, Adam.
I know
kicker questions are corny, but should I pick up Cowboys kicker and drop Vikings kicker because of Cousins being out? Yeah, I'm okay doing that.
Yep.
Opponent has Penny and Kittle. Do I go with Lance and kind of cancel out Kittle or stay with Russ at QB? I'm okay going Lance over Russ.
Regardless, yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Midnight. Hopefully you have a good Saturday and enjoy some Sunday football, but appreciate you hopping in and leaving the like.
Yep, for sure. I already answered that. Pittman, Ayuk, or Devontae PPR. I think you said Devontae. I said Pittman. So a little bit different there.
Yep.
Swift, Singletary, St. Brown, and Renfro start 2 PPR. Happy New Year's as well. I will take DeAndre Swift for sure. And then probably a toss-up for me between Renfro and St. Brown. But because you're already, starting a Detroit Lion, give me Hunter Renfro there.
I agree with you there.
Again, I usually don't say shit like that, but when it's the Detroit Lions offense, like I'll say some shit like that.
Yeah, it's different if it was like the Cowboys or the Bucs or the
for sure. In championship game, got to decide between Boston Scott, Jeff Wilson. Okay, yeah, so we already kind of talked about this. This is Pittman for me, Devontae Smith for Danny, and Freiermuth would be who I would go with at tight end there, Zach.
Yep. Pick 3 running backs, Mixon, Barkley, Darrell Williams, Rojo, and Edmonds. I would go with Mixon, Darrell, and Rojo.
Yep, that's who I would go with as well. St. Brown, Deontay Johnson, and T. Higgins. And should I pick up Justin Jackson? If you can only start one of these guys, I'm going with Deontay Johnson. If you can start 2, I'm going with Higgins and Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, and there's no point on picking up Jackson because Eckler is expected back.
Yeah. Are you guys worried about Justin Jefferson without Kirk? I mean, a little bit, but not to the point that I'm going to sit him for worse options.
Yep, I agree with you.
Happy New Year, Danny and Bush. Appreciate it. Nate, curious, who do you think the top 8 prospects for the 2022 draft? In PPR Superflex, I own the 108. I would say that there's going to be 4 to 5 first-round receivers probably in this class that are going to work their way into that conversation. I think 2 or 3 of these running backs will probably also be there for sure. Quarterback's the tough part that I can't get a read on.
Yeah, I will say, okay, strictly skill positions. Because I'm sure by your pick, 1 or 2 quarterbacks at minimum are probably going to be going because that's just
you think though.
But that's just the nature of Superflex rookie drafts, in my opinion. If you're owning a high pick,
it won't be me doing it.
If you're owning a high pick, you probably don't have a quarterback. And I mean, if Malik Willis lands on the Carolina Panthers, like, could he be the 101 at that point? Because he's got
I wouldn't pick him there.
I mean, I personally wouldn't either, but he's got the athleticism, he's got the arm talent. So, I mean, someone in your league probably takes him super, super high. If that's the case, then obviously you mentioned there's 4 locked and loaded first round type of wide receivers. You got Treylon Burks, who's my 101 right now in terms of the receiver position, maybe even overall in Superflex. He's just that good. Garrett Wilson is literally a young Stephon Diggs the way he moves. Like, the guy is absolute butter. Absolute butter. Drake London and then Jameson Williams is also going to get super high capital. So one of those 4 wide receivers.
And you got some wild cards too with David Bell and some of the other guys. You know who PFF loves? I always see Wendell Robinson tweets out of there.
Wandale's interesting. And again, I think Mechie's still going to get good draft capital even with his injury. He probably should be a top 75 pick. I really I thought he was a really solid, complete wide receiver.
He screamed second round wide receiver all season. Like that's the typical receiver that teams are going to love in the second round.
He's kind in terms of hype, he's kind of like an Amon or St. Brown where he's kind of good at everything. He's probably not great at one thing apart from maybe even like he's a great run blocker, but I mean in terms of like actual receiving traits, like he's kind of just like good at everything, and he's gonna be a chain mover in the NFL. Now, in terms of projected outcome, he's probably gonna be like capped at wide receiver 2 type of ceiling. I don't think he's gonna have a wide receiver 1, but heck, if you're getting a wide receiver 2 and he lands in, let's just say hypothetically the Patriots take him in the second round, and he's Mac Jones' wide receiver 1. Like that would be a really good spot for him.
That would be a great spot for him. Plus, we saw teams do that this year with all their college teammates going back to their old quarterbacks. I could see either Jameson Williams or I guess did Jameson Williams wouldn't have played with Mac Jones though, right?
No, he didn't. He would have been on Ohio State last year.
Right.
Which is pretty crazy because he was like the wide receiver 4 on Ohio State, and it just kind of shows you how fucking stacked that Ohio State wide receiver room is. Like, you're having a guy who legitimately put up 1,500 yards and 21 yards per catch as your wide receiver 4. Like,
yeah, exactly. So, what's the deal with why? Actually, you know what? I'm not going to get into that conversation. I'll ask you that off there. But Jefferson, AB, AJ Brown, Deontay Higgins, full PPR needs 3 wide receivers here. How the fuck do you have this wide receiver core, Justin?
What the fuck?
Give me
Jefferson, AJB, and Deontay.
Again, if you have an elite wide receiver core, I'm okay sitting Jefferson in this circumstance. But
would you go Higgins or Jefferson?
What, as the third?
That would be the third for me.
I would sit AB and Jefferson because of the injury.
Okay, that's fine then.
Yeah, that's probably what I would do. But again, like if AB is fully cleared to go, he's probably the number 1 out of these guys for me. In terms of where I'd have him ranked. And then Jefferson, I don't want to sit Jefferson either in a full PPR league, despite the weather and the QB situation. So I'd probably, as of right now, I'd go AJ Brown, Deontay, and Higgins. But if AB plays, I'll probably sit Higgins and roll with the 3 middle guys there.
Yep. Running back should we be high on as long as you're not on as long as you're not high on Brian Robinson.
Dude, that guy sucks.
He's so bad, but he's a
5th-year senior too.
Dude, he's gonna get drafted at like the 110 to like 202
because he has workhorse size, guaranteed. It's gonna be the Trey Sermon thing all over again.
Oh my god, he's so bad. Like he's got no fucking burst. Cool. He had a good day against Cincinnati when literally the Alabama offensive line was pushing guys off the ball.
There was a run that I saw of him on first down where like he literally didn't get touched until the sticks.
Yeah,
like he got to the first down marker. He literally wasn't touched. The lane was like you could draw a bus through the thing.
Also, I just want to say one thing. Evan Neal is fucking incredible. Like,
yeah, he's really good.
If the Jaguars get the first overall pick, like I know Kayvon Thibodeau and Aiden Hutchinson.
We spent two picks on D end in the last like 3 drafts, so you got to go with.
If I'm the Jaguars, I'm taking Evan Neal. In terms of running backs, you should actually be high on because they are actually good talents. I mean, the top 3 is pretty clear.
To me, is the best running back that I've seen in this class.
Sure. I think Walker might even get the highest draft capital too. And I mean,
think
Walker in the right situation, like if Walker goes to like Arizona, Walker's got some breakaway ability. Walker could fit that system. Obviously, with the RPOs with him, Kyler Murray in that backfield could open up a lot of space for him. I think Walker's a really good breakaway type of runner. Obviously, with Spiller and Hall, you're getting more of the versatility in the passing game. Spiller and Hall are they're pretty much the same fucking player.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
It's actually funny because again, they're not going to run 4-4s. Like I think Walker's
they're like Josh Jacobs level prospects, probably is what we're looking
probably a little bit better.
Maybe a little bit worse. I think not production wise, but draft capital and stuff. Because Jacobs was the best running back in that class by a pretty wide margin, in my opinion. So he got the high draft capital for that reason.
Draft capital wise, sure, but I think like even as prospects, I think they're probably even better than Jacobs because at least like
I haven't watched them yet, so I don't know for sure. But I had a first round grade on Jacobs, like a late first round grade. So I think they're probably going to be early second round type of running backs for me.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I can I could see the Jets taking one of them, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so there's still a lot of questions left. Unfortunately, I don't think we can get through these because I had like 3 hours of sleep last night and I'm exhausted. But
take your nap,
again, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter. We'll try and get to those questions before kickoff. I will answer every Twitter DM that I've received this week. I have a bunch like stacked up that I haven't gotten through yet. Same goes for like Discord and stuff. So I will
Yeah.
not leave anybody's question unanswered in championship week. Can't be doing that to people. I will also catch up on all the comments in the YouTube videos from the last couple days as well. So again, appreciate you guys joining us. Stay tuned. If you didn't get your question answered, get in here bright and early tomorrow. Have those notifications on so you can get your question answered ASAP. And again, if you want to skip the line tomorrow or whatever the case is, you can become a member by going to our YouTube page and hitting the join button and, becoming a member of the channel. And then you'll be able to skip the line like everybody who is a member skip the line in this live stream.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll quickly get to this final comment and leave you guys off. Again, if you guys need to contact us, feel free to do so. You guys can kind of see our Twitters. Mine's a little blocked off, but Danny Football 59 if you want to reach me. Football Soccer if you want to reach Corey. Again, if you guys are in the Discord, reach either of us there. We're pretty active as always. But yeah, in terms of this question, again, I would go Rojo. Bush would go with Montgomery. That's a little bet we have this week, but yeah, I think somebody else asked this question, but it was the exact same. So either way, hopefully we helped you guys out. And this last hour 20 was especially fun considering this is the first official FSE content of 2022. So
true.
You guys better be back.
I got to answer Nigel's question real quick. He said, you missed on the Tyreek Hill projection. Here's a chance at redemption. Tyreek, he went 2 for 19 last week. I'm pretty sure I said a big number and he didn't hit that. 2 weeks now removed from the COVID list. Tyreek Hill, give me 6 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Not a huge game at a Tyreek Hill, but a respectable game. And then Jamar Chase.
I'm going 4 for 68 and a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a huge game for him either. So I'll give a modest game there for both of those guys.
Like 4 for 68 and a touchdown, good for Chase?
Sure. Yeah. I was going to say like 4 for 75 and no touchdowns or something like that.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
That'd be disappointing for the Chase owners.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, peace out, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.